Hello and welcome to episode 590 of Fergo and the Freak. I'm that bloke from Rugby League Project, Andrew Ferguson. You can find me on Twitter at AndrewRLP. Join me as always as the glorious LeagueFreak. You can also find on Twitter at LeagueFreak. How you going there, mate?
I'm going very well, Andrew. I have no oversight.
None.
None whatsoever. It's great.
I'm glad we've set the tone early.
That's brilliant. Oh, shit.
How's the week been? I should ask, how has has there been any feedback from the last episode?
We've had 2 emails.
Oh,
which is really good. So let's go through them. The first one is...
I think we should.
The first one's from Nui Ash. It's been a while since we've heard from Nui Ash. The subject is Bulldogs Gus problems. The message is this. This is at Nui Ash, by the way. Let me just open by saying I do think Gus has played a huge hand in the Panthers becoming the most dominant force in rugby league and improving the Dogs during his tenure. Having said that, in recent times, Gus appears to be promoting and using AI more and more. I haven't noticed that because I'm blocked by him and I blocked him. So, do you know?
I don't use the old Twitter that much anymore. I've kind of got to the point where you know, because you're vastly more famous than I am.
I wouldn't say famous. I'd say like I don't know, omnipresent in people's minds and thoughts.
Right. See, I believe I've started using Twitter the same way you would, and that is you don't go and check out the home button. You just go to notifications and see where you've been mentioned and find out what the good things are and bad things other people have said. And if it looks like it's a good day and everyone's really happy with what you've done, you might put a little crumb out there for the public, and then you walk away.
That's a way
where I've been.
Sometimes, yeah, I get that.
So I don't really see what Gus says. Yeah.
Okay, so it says, this is back to Nui Ash's email. From the outside, it looks like everything from the roster management to game day tactics are being spat out by his beloved Claude, and he has said so himself on a number of occasions. I feel like it has started to really show in the last season or so. Strange recruitment and retention, which appears to not value creativity at all, as well as tactics that are pedestrian and uninspired.
I've got to look this up.
Okay. I'll keep reading while you look.
Keep reading. That seems crazy.
If I were a Dogs fan, I'd be concerned they are in a death spiral, that he'll try to fantasy football his way out of doing whatever Claude tells him to do, and it's going to get ugly. Thoughts?
First of all, I'm impressed if he's a guy of his age is using AI. Well done, Gus. That being said, wasn't the reason he was hired is because of all the experience and nous and, borderline genius that he has about everything to do with the game. And I'm not criticizing or questioning that level of experience and nous. I think he is quite a knowledgeable person when it comes to the game of rugby league. His resume would attest to that. So that being the case, why is he using AI when he would know more about what's going on in the game of rugby league than AI will ever know about it?
That would be interesting. I don't know anything about this, so I can't comment on it. I know, all I know is that the way he has recruited for the club, and we've talked about that numerous times and been critical of it, the disruption that has caused to the club, and the fact that Cameron Ciraldo is going to be the person that gets sacked and it won't be Phil Gould.
Phil Gould doesn't get sacked.
No, he won't get sacked, and he will sack Ciraldo and say Ciraldo didn't do the job he wanted him to do.
He was tired.
And he'll say he's tired and he'll get somebody else in, and Ciraldo will probably look back and think, I wish I'd been in control of what was happening rather than letting someone else control it that could then sack me as a relief valve for themselves.
Who do you think, if Gus was going to sack Serraldo tomorrow, who do you think he would appoint as the coach?
I don't know. I've thought about this. I really don't know. I think it would be like somebody that you just don't expect, you know?
I think it'd be someone who would be a younger coach.
You reckon?
Yeah, I don't think he'd get an experienced coach. I don't think he'd want to have somebody who could actually challenge him on tactics and team things. I think he wants someone in there who is relatively new to the role as a head coach.
See, the way I see it, like if you're a head coach, you come into that role and you say to the club before you even apply for the job, I would say, look, if I'm going to be the head coach, I need to have control over everything. That means Gould has to go.
No, I agree. But I think I think part of it is to protect himself and keep that gig.
Yeah.
He would want someone who's just coming up through the ranks, as it's been nothing but an assistant coach, and they actually need someone to be a guiding hand for them, and he would want that person to be there. He wouldn't want an experienced coach. Look at the clashes that he had with Ivan Cleary, an experienced coach, when they were there. And Cleary got rid of him.
Well, yeah, and keep in mind, like he gets rid of Cleary. He brings in Anthony Griffin, was an experienced coach. He got rid of Griffin while Griffin had them in the top 4.
But he didn't have Griffin there for long, though, did he?
It wasn't a huge amount of time.
No.
But then Ivan Cleary comes back, and then I mean, you know, we talk about the end of season awards that the Panthers had. I think when they'd won their 3rd straight, and they went through quite a long history of what had happened at the club, and they didn't mention Gould, which was, I thought, telling. And the fact that the club's I think it was the CEO or the chairman that set up that meeting with Cleary and asked him if he'd like to come back to Penrith while he was still at the Tigers. And I think there was a lot you could read between the lines in all of that, you know, because Gould was gone very soon after that, and you know, like what Gould did at Penrith. There's 2 things that he did. I mean, he come when the Panthers were at an all-time low. Matthew Elliott was the coach. And he had the ability to clear a lot of stuff out of the garbage out, and he did that. And he just turned the taps back on for the junior pathways. Like, it wasn't like he revolutionized a whole lot there. It was just like, hey, let's use our juniors again. That's a good idea, isn't it? So it's like these juniors that Penrith are producing, we've always produced great juniors, even when under Elliott. Like, we produced Michael Jennings, you know.
Yeah.
There was another really good player we produced during that time, and I can't remember who it was. But anyway,
it was probably young Matt Moylan.
Yeah, Matt Moylan was around that time.
He must be nearly 21 now.
Yeah, he must be, hey. This is Matt Moylan and Stanley Jean. They're the 2. No, did you see my tweet the other day about
I did, yes.
Yeah,
that was good. That was good.
Yeah. Look, I didn't do it. It was Stanley Jean. He's been around for longer than we all can tell. But yeah.
He's been around longer than I have.
Yeah, that's saying something. But yeah, with Gould, look, it's I tell you one thing, it's been interesting to see Bulldogs fans, and it has only happened over about the last month, where they're now looking at what's happened at the club and saying, oh, this is kind of ridiculous how things have been going, and this is not how you manage a roster. And it's pretty clear that that's Phil Gould's job and that's his role, and they're starting to talk about we need to move on from Phil Gould. And it took them a while to get there, and I understand why, but they're definitely there now.
So I will say this, I've just found a few tweets here from him on Twitter.
Okay.
And these are from March.
Okay.
And for me, this is something that's more concerning than him using AI.
Okay.
It's him voicing political opinion.
Okay.
So he's got one here. Climate change believers love being outraged, ... So he just gets a ton of replies for that.
Mm-hmm.
As you would. Why would you do this? Someone then gave some reply. And then he says, just my thoughts, but I would think that nuclear war, chemical warfare, religious wars, terrorism, pandemics, natural and man-made, deadly viruses, drugs, politics, globalism, technology, AI, wealth distortion and poverty, food production are all far more important issues. Oh man, and the answer goes on and on and on, and it's long. And then at the very end, after he's talking about the Milky Way, human beings, how they'll either adapt or die and all sort of stuff, and then he goes, like the bunker and six agains. How the fuck did she tie that shit in there?
I think he likes drama, and I think that that's a very clear pattern, that he just likes drama, and there'll be nothing going on, and he will create something, for no reason. So I think he likes drama.
I will say, Gus, please just step away from the AI stuff, okay? It's not accurate and it's not great. Trust me, I've tried to use it for doing some very basic research stuff, not because I needed the research done, but to test it to see how good it was. And it's garbage. Like, if the research hasn't already been done, it won't help you do it. It only does what it can find quickly. That's all it does. It's a Google search with a small bit of personality. That's it. That's all it is. So, Gus, please just do yourself a massive benefit and the club, and step away from the AI. It's not helping you. Oh boy, I had no idea he was doing that shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy that I don't say anything from him. I feel better for it. So we've got an email here from Sam, and the subject is NRL takeover, which we talked about a lot in the last episode, and I had a lot of rants and stuff about that. He says, evening/morning. Good to hear your latest rant about the potential takeover of Super League by the NRL. I should say I'm all for it. 10 teams, including 2 in France and London. Bin off Castleford, Huddersfield, Lee, and someone else. Okay, I added that part. I suppose my question is, why do you want to? You talk of a game dying on its ass, yet you sound desperate to plough money into it. You're currently talking about how much you've expanded rugby league in Australia, and it seems to be you've swapped a couple of teams from the rugby league stronghold of Sydney into the backwater that is Queensland. Bravo.
Hang on. Swapped a few teams.
I think he's being facetious.
Quite.
Yes. Bravo. Wait, you're off back to Perth for another go as well. Why not a second team in Melbourne? We've talked about that. Oh, we're now on to Spain and Germany as well. I've decided this is a parody account, a bit like a cut price Ryan HG. Keep up the good work. Oh, a second choice goalkeeper at Bolton Wanderers is currently earning circa 6,000 Australian dollars a week. It's not just the Premier League, it's all levels of football. It completely dominates all sports. The kids are hoovered up by clubs at all levels. Okay. That's interesting thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's...
I don't know why the NRL's looking at England. I really don't.
As I said before, I genuinely think it's about a broadcasting deal in another country to try and jack up how much money they make out of this current one.
Yeah, I would.
And so you're going to have a better chance of getting that deal going if the local product is in existence and functioning, because that would help add to the TV rights deal. If they can say, oh, look, we've got this comp that's going on the other side of the world, you can have that going as well, and then you can just have rugby league 24/7.
So I wonder, like, I have a feeling some of our game times anyway are pretty good for the UK audience in the morning. you know.
Yeah.
And that's obviously going to be some sort of hole in what they've got to broadcast over there. Like, there's not many things that are on, in the morning on a weekend. So the NRL is available to them. And I wonder if you go over there, you're talking about the broadcasting deal for the NRL games, and you're like, okay, we can add Super League on top of that. But in an ideal world, what would you want out of Super League to be on top of that? And that's where, Sky Sports tells them what would be ideal for Super League, and that's where the NRL's been talking to them about all of that. But, we haven't heard much about it the last couple of weeks. And, we'll see what happens. I just think that, I just wouldn't invest in something that, as Sam says, fucking dying on its ass.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to keep it. I don't want to see rugby league to die anywhere, even if it's England or Wales or France. I don't want to see it die anywhere, because once any sport dies somewhere, it doesn't come back, and it doesn't come back the same if it does.
Yeah. Did you see my discussion this week about what happened to the Toronto Wolfpack?
No.
Oh my God. I did a tweet about it was just along the lines of, remember when the Toronto Wolfpack were told that they'd have to go through all of the grades and get through all of them if they wanted a Super League club, and they did that. And then COVID hit, and the Rugby Football League immediately kicked them out of the competition, and that was it. The Toronto Wolfpack were done. And a lot of people liked it, but there were some people that were saying, well, they weren't kicked out, they withdrew because they had no money. And it's like, they had no money because they were part of a competition that wouldn't give them any money, and they weren't in that competition anymore. They couldn't compete in that competition because they were ejected from it. And so they had no money. They were a rugby league team that wasn't able to play rugby league. Kind of hurts your bottom line,
Yeah, I think history will look back on the Toronto Wolfpack situation and see it as the most nearsighted mismanagement thing rugby league in England's probably done since World War II, anyway. Because the market they were opening up there was immense. It's the biggest market. Even the NRL has struggled to get into that market, and they were at the back door, and to just piss that up the wall so quickly, it's staggering.
Yeah, and they'd spent a few years doing it properly, as we were always told. Oh, you can't just drop a team in; you got to do it properly. So they did it properly. And then they get there, and a few weeks into it, COVID hits, and they just ejected them out, and they would just put them in the too hard basket and gave them no. I had one person saying, because the UK government gave a lot of different companies, including Super League teams, basically payments that they would have to pay back eventually, so that they could continue running during COVID and all the lockdowns and stuff. Well, obviously, the Toronto Wolfpack didn't get that because they're not a UK business.
Correct.
But then it was like, I had somebody literally say, well, it's not the Rugby Football League's responsibility to make sure clubs survive. And it's like, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what the fucking responsibility of a competition administration is. Like, if they're not there to make sure that everything is organised and that it's all running smoothly and that everyone's in good health, what is it there for? That's its job.
Yeah, it's failing, like rule number one, and that is keep the game in existence.
Yeah, and
that's
Toronto,
how you do it by keeping the teams alive. But at the same time, it's probably an actually very accurate point. Is that's how the RFL does themselves. It's not our job to keep the clubs alive.
Yeah, and look, we've talked about how they kind of did that with Salford, and I did a tweet about Salford a few days later about how the Rugby Football League chose an owner for Salford Red Devils, and before the calendar year was out, that they were insolvent, and the Rugby Football League was like, no, not our problem. So, yeah, the thing that got me about Toronto is that, like, you can look at different expansion clubs. The thing about Toronto was that they had locals who were really, they had built this really little special thing during home games where it was just this cool outing for people in Toronto. And, they were getting really good crowds in Toronto. It's not like we were looking at it saying, oh, yeah, but there's fucking 8,000 Castleford fans there, because that doesn't even happen in Super League. Like, they were all Toronto locals, and they were on the news in Toronto, and people in Toronto were actually going out to watch a rugby league game, and they were watching a Super League game, and they shot it twice in the head, once in the chest, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then they said, they couldn't pay their bills. It's like, yeah, because you killed them. What did you think was going to happen?
They literally did. I mean, in their first season in League One, their average crowd was 6,960.
Yeah.
That's their very first season. What was the average crowd for that year? Let's have a look. The average crowd in League One in 2017, when the Wolfpack was averaging 6,960, the average crowd was 883.
And you saw videos from their games and like of the crowd, and it was just this really special little moment, and they had it. They had this incredible. Can you imagine what the NRL would give to be able to have that? And they didn't care. They squandered it, and they were like, "Oh, you're outsiders. Go away. You're not getting any help. You're not getting any money. You're not getting a pathway back. You're not getting anything at all. You just go away." And so the club did, and they say, "Well, they went broke." It's like, yeah, because you killed them.
Just worth noting, Toronto Wolfpack, 61 wins, 1 draw, 9 losses.
Wow, what a record.
It won't get beaten, so, they'll have that forever.
Yeah. That sucks. I think that whole saga was a real final straw for me.
Yeah, look, I think for me, I started questioning what they were going to do to the French teams. If they were going to do that to a team that was like hit the ground running and was so strong to start with and did everything they asked them to do, and they were ticking all the boxes. And then the game just used COVID as an excuse to, we can't have these new guys come on and be this good. I don't know. Yeah, I know there was more reasons to it than that, but the optics were bad. We'll put it that way. They did very little to help them stay alive. But as we went through in that recent history episode of the Salford Red Devils, how much help has Salford had to keep in existence? And still, after that episode, there was still more. I think Toronto didn't get that.
Toronto got nothing.
And now they're doing similar stuff to, the two French sides.
Yeah.
I didn't realise this until a few weeks ago that Catalan and Toulouse are not playing in Magic Weekend. They're going to play each other in France.
The other thing is they make them pay for all of the flights and accommodation of teams that come over to France. But it doesn't work the other way. Like, they have to then pay their own flights and accommodation to go and play teams in England.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of shocking that they can afford that.
I think it would have been absolutely amazing, and I hope that this can be arranged at some time in the future. The French Rugby League officials say, when Magic Weekend's on, how's about we have our own Magic Weekend? So we have Catalans play Toulouse. But let's see if we can get an NRL game over here as well. Let's see if we can get a women's international game over here. Let's see if we can get a European international over here. Do something and try and make we've got 3 or 4 big games all on at the same time. And we'll just have a big triple header or, 4 games on at the same time. They've got their Magic Weekend on in England. We're going to have an international day of rugby league here with our Super League game in there as well.
That'd be really cool.
I think that'd be an absolute ball terror of an idea. And there'd be a ton of people who would go over to see that. Like it doesn't have to be a test match between Australia and New Zealand over there. It could be,
just have a club game go over there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like have an NRL club game go over there. And the first thing I was thinking was you could probably send 2 teams over there. Oh, sorry, 2, maybe 4 teams over there for round 1, right? Or something like that. When we go to Vegas, 4 teams go to Vegas, 4 teams go over to France. You know, you could do something like that. You can have the World Club Challenge on at the same time. That means all 17 NRL teams are playing in the first week, but the one that's got the bye in round 1 is actually playing the World Club Challenge.
I think
But, you know, there's things that you could do there, but I think it'd be absolutely just great to see.
It would be funny to see, like,
how it would compare between the two, and you know who'd get the more money and the bigger crowds and stuff.
One thing I think is interesting is that every so often I'll see somebody from England talk about, like, you know, they should change their kickoff times over there so that when our games finish, like on an evening, like say at 10 p.m. Sydney time, that it should follow into a Super League game, and like I don't think they understand how few people in Australia ever watch any Super League games. Like, it is literally no one. Like, I'd probably be in the top 90% of people that watch Super League games, and I very rarely watch Super League games. Like, I just have zero interest in it. It's not like we're this rugby league mad nation. It's like, oh, there's Super League game on, I'll watch that now. Like, we will turn that off. And I think that that's a real big problem for them, because there's just no market for rugby league from their teams in the biggest rugby league market in the world. That should be something they think about and ask themselves why that is.
Well, I mean, if they did have that game at, say, 10:30, that's what is that a 1:30 kickoff over there, or is it 2:30?
Yeah, I think it would be 1:30.
I mean, what sort of broadcasting are you going to get for a bunch of games kicking off at 1:30? Which is isn't that when a lot of the soccer games are on?
Yeah, I think there's some soccer games over there that start earlier.
So you're directly competing more than ever.
But the thing,
sport over there, and that's the thing they complain about the most.
Well, but the thing is that, like, they talk about augmenting their draw to do that, and I've said, like, don't augment your draw to get viewers in Australia, because viewers in Australia, don't care what time you're putting these games on, are not going to watch Super League games. Like, we've got so many hours of top class NRL games to watch in great time slots. We're not going to watch a far inferior product in a worse time slot. Like, we would rather wait the next day for the next round of 3 NRL games in a row, or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're going to get as much financial benefit as they think they would. There'd be a market for it, but it's not big.
I think it would be.
That's the thing. They're not realizing too that if they're doing that and starting games at 1:30 and going through till 5 or 6, and that's just going through the entire, like, midnight to 6 a.m. period here. I mean, no one's watching that anyway.
Yeah. Once you get to a certain point, it's
Yeah. I mean, it's hard enough trying to get the F1's struggling as it is, trying to get Australian audiences to tune into F1 races all the time, because most of the races are starting at either 11 p.m. through to 4 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, it's some things you can't fix.
No, it just is what it is, and you know, they need to focus on making rugby league
marketable in their own country.
Exactly, and ask themselves how they can make the game relevant to people that are in London, that are in all of these population centres. And you know how you do that? It's not showing them Wakefield playing fucking Castleford. Well, it's by giving these places teams of their own that they can get interested in and follow.
They've got, 2.5 times the population of Australia. Why are they trying to get our eyes? You know, you've got a massive audience there, and it's such a tiny little part. Yeah. What would we know?
No, what would we know about making rugby league successful?
I'm only an expert. Not my words. Not my words.
Speaking of making rugby league successful in other places, huge news this weekend coming out that Jarome Luai, or last weekend I should say, Jarome Luai has taken a tour of the facilities at Papua New Guinea, and he is now officially their number one signing in the club's history. I knew he was going to sign once I saw him. I won't say being paraded because I don't think the way they did it was crass. But when I saw that he was there and I heard that he was there with his wife and his kid, and he looked so happy, and he was waving at the crowd. I guess they took him to a game that was at the stadium in PNG, and he just looked happy. And I was like, oh, you don't normally do that sort of stuff unless you're happy to sign there. And so it came out just today or yesterday, if you're listening to this, that he has signed for them. They are also getting Alex Johnson, who is the top try scorer of all time in Australian Rugby League history. And two pretty good signings, and I think they're going to get a bunch of really good players. Go over there. I tell you what, I saw one person say, why has the PNG Chiefs already got better players than Georgia Luai have, which I thought was funny. But I think they're going to get a number of very good signings as well from here on in.
That's not anything to do with favouritism for PNG. They're just, even though they don't exist in the NRL yet, they're already better run than the Dragons.
Yeah, that's true. Although they need to get rid of the media person that's...
that would help.
That was what a ridiculous... I mean, you could see the
it's just going to leak like a sieve, that play.
Yeah, and that's what happened today with the mess that was going on in the media, and that they need to just get rid of that person.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was good to see that they've got Jarome Luai, perfect first signing, just perfect.
100%.
And you get the one area that they were always going to have an issue with was the playmaking, because they've got forwards, they've got good backs that come out of PNG, they've got great hookers that come out of PNG.
Yeah.
But they've halves sometimes they need more there, and I think that once you got Luai there, you don't have to worry about that as much.
No, God, no. They're going to be, they're good now. And it starts in 2028.
Yeah.
So he's got another season and a half left at the Tigers.
Yep. One of the cool things I saw was that the way Tigers fans, for the most part, took the news on board was that, look, he come here, we knew it was for the big money, but he kind of did what he said he was, or what it was expected of him. He helped change the standards at the club. He helped give a lot of leadership.
Yeah, he didn't come in and Adam Blair it.
No. Right. And he went to a 3-time wooden spoon team, and they're in third place on the NRL ladder now, and it's not a coincidence,
No,
and he's leaving them in a much better place than when he got there. So, yeah, it was cool to see West Tigers fans really look at it that way for the most part. I thought that was fantastic by the supporter base.
I think, too, the thing that's good, too, is he has been helping with Jock Madden and his development as well, because he's been really good since return to the club this year.
Yeah.
And between him and I think it's Latu Fainu, who's very young halfback there, it's not like the Tigers are going to be struggling for halves in the next few years.
Yeah.
And I think the timing is absolutely perfect on that front, and they'll free up an absolute shit ton of coin.
Mm-hmm.
So, then that's going to come timely, because Coruscant will probably be looking to either move on or retire in the next several years. Mm-hmm. So they're going to need that coin to get themselves a good hooker. So it's actually not bad management by the club. I'm fully support the decision, because I want to see these new clubs come in and hit the ground running and not hit the ground struggling. Mm-hmm. And the PNG team looks like it's doing everything right so far. The people, the players it's talking to, obviously the ones that signed, a little worried about the way the Perth team is being put together at the moment. It feels a little disjointed, the way the roster they have at the moment. But there's still time for them to build and get a few more marquee players and build up around that. So, if they do that and they make some really good, astute, big-name signings with that squad, then they've actually got their depth sorted out already, and it's not a bad first-up squad they've got there. Just hope that both clubs are not just, doing a Melbourne Storm thing and just relying on developed players in other developed areas. I want to see them both, and PNG will do this easily. I want to see them both have junior pathways in their actual city that they're based in.
Yeah, and I think that's the X factor that the PNG. I don't know if they're going to be called PNG Chiefs or Port Moresby Chiefs.
I kind of hope that they're not.
In what way?
I don't like the Chiefs name.
Oh, don't you?
Nah.
Oh, see, I like it.
It doesn't resonate with me at all. I'm like, eh.
But they've got Chiefs, in Port Moresby, in Papua New Guinea, though.
No, I get all of that. But, at the same time, when I hear Chiefs, I'm just thinking of a New Zealand rugby union team.
Okay. That's fair enough.
That Chiefs team over there in the union, it's been like that well entrenched for so long.
Yeah.
They kind of just own the name. I don't know. It just feels a bit weird.
That's fair enough.
I don't know what else they could have, but
I used to have a fantasy rugby league team called the Port Moresby Jaguars.
Jaguars?
Yeah. There's no Jaguars in PNG though.
Well, no, that's true. I mean, there's no Tigers in Campbelltown either.
That's true.
Oh, that list could go on.
Yeah. I feel like we could just go down terrible pathways. Oh, shit, some of my high-end collectibles just fell.
Oh, they're running away.
What just fell is the, what would you call it? The time portal from what should be behind Deadpool.
All right. See, I think the problem you've got there, based on what we've seen on your Instagram account, is a bit of a sausage fest in there.
It's so funny you should say that, right? It's hilarious you should say that, because I have one female character. I've got Ahsoka out of Star Wars. You probably don't even know who Ahsoka is,
no.
right?
No, it sounds like a hose you use for in the garden.
I knew it. I'm not talking about Cynthia. I'm talking about Ahsoka.
There you go. See, I'm bringing out the dad jokes.
Yeah. And she's the only female character I have. She's a female Jedi out of the Clone Wars. And I realized last night I've never taken pictures of it and put it online. So I've got it ready to take pictures, and I've taken some pictures already. So, yeah, it's funny you should say that, because, yeah, I've only ever shown, there's the sausage fest, as you call it. That's very supportive.
Well, what more can we say?
I don't know what it is, right? But there's, with the 1/6 scale collecting, there's some weird pathway and I don't even know what it's about, but I'll search for things on eBay, like different accessories, like just swords and guns and stuff I can use. And every so often you'll come across some weird thing and you're like, what is that all about? Like weird 1/6 scale fetish stuff. And you're like, people, there must be a section somewhere of people that dress 1/6 scale things up in weird shit. And I've never looked into it because I'm like, I just don't want to. I want to be ignorant. I'm like all comic book stuff, I don't want to be like, oh my God, there's this whole other fucking world and I don't want to know about it.
Oh, well, that sounds like a teaser for your Instagram account in 5 years' time.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good when I really get into that stuff. Have fucking Deadpool jerking everyone off. It'll be great.
That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Hang around for that, people.
Yeah. So what else has been happening in rugby league,
I've got
Andrew?
no segue from there. I did a bit of number crunching today.
Okay.
Looking at days turnaround stats. just comparing the first 8 rounds of this year with the first 8 rounds last year.
Okay.
Because I remember doing this a while back. I think it was when it was either Trent Robinson or Ricky Stewart, or maybe both of them, whinged about the fact that I had so many games with a short turnaround, and they trying to make a point that it was detrimental to their team's chances and was probably going to cause them to lose more games.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did the research back then, I found that the short turnaround actually provided 50 to 60% win rates, not the other way around.
Mm.
It stayed consistent like that for ages.
Mm-hmm.
Things have changed this year.
Oh, really?
So in 2025, so this is just after the first 8 rounds for both years.
Okay.
2025, the 5-day turnaround there was 8 games and there was a 50% win chance there.
So it stayed steady last year, basically, for... Yeah.
This year there's been 4 games, so half as many, and the win rate is 25%.
Ah, it's dropped quite a bit.
The 6-day turnaround, there was 28 games last year. Win rate, still 50%.
Mm-hmm.
This year, 40 games, so 12 more, and the win rate is 37.5%.
Oh, wow.
The 7-day turnaround. Now, historically, this has always trended the same way it did in 2025, which was 28 games, 32.14%. For some reason, a full week's rest was actually what gave you close to one of the worst win records.
Mm-hmm.
This year, 25 games, almost the same number of games, 60% win rate.
Oh, wow.
8-day turnaround. Last year, 23 games, 60.87%. That's on trend. This year, it's up a slight bit, 62.5%. And there's been 24 games.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it's actually, kind of on trend after that. The crazy thing is the 5 and 6-day turnarounds where it used to be 50-50, sometimes close to 60% win rate, it's dropped under 40% for both those days. And the 7-day win rate, which used to always be really low, is now really high, which shows, I think, that the fatigue factor has finally kicked in, and it's kicked in hard.
Yeah, I think that's what I would lean towards it being, the fatigue factor.
8 games more this year with a less than 7-day turnaround. Obviously doesn't help either.
Yeah. Look, I think that, I think a 6-day turn, 6, 7, 8-day turnarounds, I don't think you should even be thinking about it, quite honestly. I don't think it should be in your mind in terms of it's a short turnaround. It should just be normal. When you get to a 5-day turnaround, it's a little something. But at the same time, you're a professional football team. You're not getting 5-day turnarounds week on week on week, and deal with it, Everyone's got to deal with 5-day turnaround at some point. I saw Ricky Stewart was whinging last week, I think it was, about how many games his team had to say, his head team had to play, and I joked that they'd been forced to play 4 games in 4 weeks. It's terrible. But yeah, and look, the way that the draw is, I think the NRL does a pretty good job of not absolutely hammering one team with a terrible turnarounds back to back. It just technically it can't really happen.
No, that's right. So the other bit of data I looked at was still around days turnaround is the total number of days turnaround so far this year for each club, going from their first game of the year, and includes buys as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Tigers are going to have the last one because they had a bye in round 1.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have a game in round 1. And if you had a game in round 1 and then a bye after it, then that's 12 days it gets chucked on there.
Yeah, so it skews it a bit.
So because they've skipped that bit, theirs is lowest.
Yeah.
They've got 40 days turnaround. The Titans are second with 41 days.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that tells you that they've had a lot of short turnarounds in their run already. The Warriors are next with 46 days. Canberra then 47. Sharks, Dolphins and Souths with 48 days. Brisbane and Manly 49. The Roosters 50. Parramatta, Penrith and the Dragons 51. So most of the competition is between 47 and 51 days.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, the Bulldogs and the Cowboys 55 days.
Mm-hmm.
Melbourne 56 days and Newcastle 57 days.
And some of that would be getting into the round zero stuff where they play in Vegas, and then they've got that big break to the next game.
That's right. Interestingly though is that you'd probably say that Parramatta, South, and Melbourne and Newcastle Warriors probably been impacted the most by injuries. Melbourne's injuries, though, are more impacted by what's happened before the season got underway.
Yeah.
But the teams that are struggling with injuries more are not the ones that have had the least number of days turnaround.
Yeah.
So it seems that the days turnaround isn't causing injuries, but it is causing losses.
And I get
losing games.
And the other thing to remember too is by the end of the season, this all that evens out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but it's funny when I hear Ricky Stewart whinging about the situation that the Canberra Raiders have, because I immediately think, well, you got a team in Auckland who every single away game is literally an overseas game that they have to deal with, right? And then North Queensland, I mean, they're so far away that that's a huge difference for them. Like, they've got so much travelling that they've got to do. And you just take those two teams into account alone. And then one thing I was thinking this week, which was interesting, is, the Western Sydney airport that's opening at the end of this year, that's going to really cut down the travel times for the Penrith Panthers quite a bit. It could depend on where the domestic flights out of that airport are for. And then teams flying into Penrith, like it's going to be like not having to do that slog in and out, of Sydney just to get to the airport. It's going to be great for everyone. But yeah, so that's why I find it funny when the Raiders whinge about, the terrible slogs that they've got to do. It's like, go and talk to the fucking Auckland Warriors about that,
Maybe someone needs to get Ricky a present. Let's just say, Ricky, what you need is a car. Like, stop getting around on a horse and get yourself a car, and you can use that to get to the airport. It's faster. It's a lot easier, a lot more comfortable too. And you'll start to find that the travel times start getting a lot more comfortable, a lot easier. Because I think he's getting around to putting all of his 21-man squad on the back of his one horse. And that would be uncomfortable.
Look, I always think Ricky Stewart could go like a 3-for-1 present from the Wizard of Oz. A fucking heart, a brain, and some courage.
Oh, man. He's a bit punishing as a coach.
And the other thing is too, like, look at how his team's going this year. And when does he come under pressure? Like, how many more? Does he need another decade and a half to get them where he needs them?
I would say he is currently on trend for what the Raiders do. Because they'll have a season where they make the finals, and then the next year they don't. And then they go back into the finals, and then they don't. I'm sure this is what's happened. Let me have a look here. Oh, look. How far back do we go? So last year, minor premiers. Year before that, 9th. 2 years before that, both 8th. Year before 2021, 10th. The 2 years before that, 4th, 5th. 2 years before that, 10th each year. 2nd in 2016. 10th, 15th, 13th, going back from 2015 to 2013. Then they made the semis in 2012. 15th in 2011. 7th in 2010. 13th 2009. 6th in 2008.
And it's like, whose fault is the inconsistency then?
Look, that goes back beyond Stewart as well as coach. So that's just something that this club it's just ingrained to do, is inconsistent seasons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you have a season as a Raiders fan where you make the finals, don't buy a membership the next year.
Just skip it. Yeah, just skip it.
At the end of this next year, get your membership then when it'll be on the cheap a little bit, because you just had a bad season. It'll be great. You'll you'll be back in the finals. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. He won't be under any scrutiny from the media though, but we're always watching.
We're always watching.
Yeah.
What else is there that's been going on?
Well, it was it was another interesting week of results in the NRL.
Yes,
maybe we should go through them.
We should definitely do that. Let's do that. So we had, let's see. Let me get prepared.
What does that mean? I've heard the word before, but
it just means I click on a button a few times.
All right. So I've got it here. Yeah.
The round opened with the Tigers beating Canberra 33-14.
And really put it on them.
Yeah. The Tigers have been doing this thing in the first half of games recently, which is equally impressive and frustrating at the same time. And that is, especially in the first 30 minutes of a game, they dominate possession, they dominate field position, and they struggle to score points. And then as soon as the other team starts to get a bit of momentum, the Tigers will score a try against, when momentum's sort of against them a little bit and they're losing their role, so to speak. And then all of a sudden they'll get one set in the opposition half and put on a good try. You're like, what the fuck did that come from? And they'll put 2 or 3 on after that. And you're like, this period, 10-minute period, either side of halfway, they feel and look like they're unstoppable. And for the most reason, the data is showing that they largely are. But they just dominate so much of the game in that first part of the first half and struggle to get through, struggle to get points. And it's not through pedestrian attack or anything like that. I think it's from trying a little bit too hard. And they're doing, instead of trying to find a weakness in the opposition's defense, they just go, right, let's just throw 35 kitchen sinks at it and see which one sticks.
Yeah. And then they tend to, once the other team gets going, they tend to settle down and knuckle down and do the hard work. And that the hard work is what leads to them actually scoring tries,
Correct.
Instead of throwing it around all over the place. Yeah.
It's not a bad problem to have. That's an easy thing to fix. But it has been something that I've noticed that they're doing at the moment, which is a bit weird. I don't know. I don't know what to say about the Raiders. No, I was not impressed with when I looked at their roster at the start of the year, and I didn't rate them as a top 8 side at all. And they should be. They were minor premiers last year. You should be able to back that up and at least make the top 8 the following year. But something about them, I just go, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, look, I just think that I see too many excuses. Like, there's 2 things that stand out to me, right? I mean, we've talked about how the way that Stewart conducts himself, he gives his players an out because there's always an excuse, And when you build that into a team's psyche, as you do with everything when you're the coach, that means that they're like, you've just gotten out, and it's not a good thing for a team to have. One of the things I'm seeing this year is that the Raiders players are talking a lot of shit to opposition teams. And, there are certain people within the game that can talk shit and you're like, well, they can say whatever they want, And then there's teams that shouldn't. And the Raiders are really one of those that should not be talking shit to anyone. And they've done it in a couple of games that they've lost,
Yes.
It's not good. But I think it's a culture that they've built down there, which is really not good for winning and winning when it counts and winning when things go against you. And at the end of the day, that's what the best teams do. They win when things are going against them. And look at the Brisbane Broncos as a perfect example of that. And anytime something goes bad against the Raiders, they've gotten out. And you just have to ask the coach about it. And that's not good.
No.
And I think that's what it is at the end of the day.
Well, the one thing that surprised me about this game is before it even started, he had only 2 forwards on the bench. And the Tigers had 3. You go, well, what are you doing? Like, the game is so fast now. You can't just carry 2 backs on the bench and expect to win a game, especially against a team that doesn't matter who they are. If the team's in form and they're at the right end of the ladder, you can't go in there thinking that you can steamroll them with your run-on guys, because the game is moving too quickly and there's so few breaks that most teams' forwards are going to be gassed. Like, doesn't matter who you are, how well you're performing. That's why you need to have 3 on the bench.
Mm.
But he had Dane Laurie and hooker Jaden Bradley on the bench. And it's not a criticism of those 2 guys, but why would you go into basically any game and only have one middle forward on your bench, and the other one was an edge forward? It's putting so much pressure on the rest of his front row. I mean, Morgan Smithies is normally at lock. He had to start at prop.
Mm.
Tapani was the other prop, and you had Horsburgh, who was in at lock. They were your middle forwards. That was it.
Yeah.
Like, that's just crazy. Like, if you're not making meters up through the middle, you're not going to be making meters, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, Stewart was an absolutely Hall of Fame, world-class halfback in his day. He knows this.
Mm.
He knows how important forwards are, and he knows how important the middle of the field is. And I just couldn't believe that he made that call thinking that was going to work. And I just wonder if it's something that a bunch of teams have fallen into the trap of, because the Tigers have been so dreadful for so long. We don't need to put our best out. We don't need to try hard in this one. And they're taking them lightly. And in my mind, I don't know whether that's actually happening or not. And I don't know if saying that means I'm taking away from the Tigers' performances, because the Tigers have not been performing bad at all.
No, they've been great.
Very consistent football, very controlled, very measured, a lot better defensively, like insanely better defensively.
Yeah, yeah.
Structurally, everything is so much better.
Well, look, there comes a point in a season where, like, you start a season off, and the Storm are a great example of this. You start a season off and you're like, you can have good runs, you can have bad runs, you can have bit of bad luck, whatever. Once you get a couple of months into the season, you're starting to get to the point where you are what you are. You know, if you're a top 4 team after 2 months of the NRL season, you're not bad. Like, no. And if you're in the bottom 4 after 2 months of the season, you're not good. Like, and at some point you just are what you are. And I tend to think that the West Tigers are a very good team. They just are.
They're playing a very, very good brand of footy. It's as simple as that. The next few weeks they're going to get tested in a weird way, and that's going to be on their depth, because Buller's out at the moment with a shoulder injury, and that's already made a few changes. Coruscant, I think, is also out with suspension. So these are pretty big losses. Anytime you lose a spine member for anything, it's a huge change to the way the team plays. It's going to test them. The other one out is Kai Pearce-Paul, who's been in just phenomenal form on the edge. He's actually being used properly. He's got a great offload and he runs good lines wide. I don't know why the Knights didn't see that. He's been used properly and he's playing great out there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get tested during this period. And, there's a chance that obviously Luai is going to get picked in Origin. There could be others. I wouldn't hold hopes too high. They tend to just want to pick their favourites all the time. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's it. But still, if you lose Luai and Coruscant might still be suspended or injured or whatever, and Buller's out, that's a massive change to your spine. That changes the way all the dynamics work in your club. But yeah, the Raiders they're a bit bland at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think they're going to be flat track bullies this year. They're going to come up against the shit teams and beat them, and that's pretty much all we're going to see of them. I can't see anything else other than that.
Yeah, and I mean, like we saw what they put up in the finals on two games, 2 losses. But whoop, I just knocked my microphone and it just went to the ground. I'll have to hold it now. This is fantastic. Where's the intern?
Oh look, now you're doing manual labor. That's bad.
This is ridiculous. I didn't sign up to have to use my hands. What is this? My OnlyFans account? Here we go.
Again.
Hands and feet.
That's where the money is.
That's so man. Anyway, what was I saying?
I don't know. We'll go to the next game.
Okay, yeah, let's just get out of here
Because I forgot as well.
Yeah.
Next game. Cowboys beat Cronulla 46-34 in one of the most defensively woeful performances from either side this year.
Yep, definitely. I couldn't believe this game. That they were both really terrible defensively, and the Sharks, I'm worried about them. They're not the team that I expected them to be this year. There's no, they're very easy to break this year, which I didn't expect.
Yeah, especially in the middle.
Mm.
Like in the middle, they've been defensively very strong for years. But they look bad in this one defensively. And I mean, the Cowboys have been defensively trash recently as well.
Mm-hmm.
As much as they've been winning, I'm pretty sure, let me have a look. I'm pretty sure their defense in the last few games has been crap. Let's see. They've conceded 103 points in their last 3 games, and they won 2 of those games. That's 34 points a game they're averaging in defense.
Yeah.
And they won 2 of those games. So I think there's a bit of I think the Cowboys are riding high going, yeah, we won another game and we've won 5 or 6 games, but I mean, your defense isn't working.
Yeah, like I'm not watching the Cowboys and being like, oh, Todd Payton, I was wrong about him. I watched them and I'm like, they won this game, but my God, they need a new coach so badly. Because they've got good players in their team. It's just, I mean, they're so inconsistent and their defense is just terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really ugly. I think the Cowboys probably they're probably closer to their ceiling than the Sharks are.
Yeah.
The Sharks have a lot of improving to do because that was, especially coming off a bye, they should have been a lot better than that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
They've had 2 bad games in a row defensively. They've conceded 80 points in their last 2 games.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that the Sharks are no chance of winning the premiership this year. I just, I think on their best day last year, it was like, oh, look, if things went their way and maybe they run into the right opponent at the right time, stuff on that form, but not on this year's form. I don't think they're any, like the likes of Penrith and the Broncos, I don't think would even think of the Sharks. I think they'd just roll them.
Last year, they were a genuine top 4 side.
Yeah.
This year, no. Not on that form. They've got a lot of improving to do and fast if they're going to right that ship. Next, Brisbane, what was left of them, beat the Bulldogs 32-12. I'm going to say it. Bulldogs are fucking dreadful right now.
Yes. Yeah. They're terrible. They're terrible.
Their attack is almost Dragons-like, and their defense is. It used to this time last year. Their defense was fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
How has it become so bleh?
Well, the general manager took their fucking lineup and put it in a goddamn Etch-a-Sketch, shook it around, and said to the camera operator, "Here, this is your team now." Because that's what happened.
For everything that, a lot of people just go and point at Galvin. Oh, since he came along, we haven't been the same side. And going, yeah, you know what? You can put the attack and its inability to score points somewhat on that, but not the defense. The defense is an application thing for everyone across the park, not one bloke.
Mm.
And there's something a lot wrong there.
Well, if you like the game that they had against Penrith, if you look at that and you say, well, that's the Bulldogs at their very best, right? But that game is looking like an extreme anomaly in the entire season.
That's all it is now. It's one win out of their last 5 games, and that was it.
Yeah, and at either side of that, they've looked abysmal. And, Cameron Ciraldo is going to get sacked. It's coming. And the problem is that, you've got all of these players that are a mishmash, and it's they need time to settle on their lineups, and they've got 2-5-8s and with stuff we've talked about over the last number of weeks, and you can't just fix it. You can't just fix that sort of stuff, but you can fix the application in defence. And so why aren't they doing that? Like, what's stopping that? I don't know.
And this is the thing. They've had 4 of their 7 games this year where they have not been able to score more than 16 points.
Yeah.
And it's not like they've been playing against elite teams from last year. They barely beat the Dragons in round 1 in Golden Point. They just beat Canberra, who are nowhere near what they were last year. They just beat them by 4 points. They lost to Newcastle, the worst attacking team of last year. They lost to South, who were running last and second last for most of last year. They lost to Parramatta the week after they beat Penrith. They haven't had a hard run yet.
No. And you look at that game against Penrith, and it's like, oh my God, they're fucking unbelievable. And they just flat out smashed the Panthers team that was undefeated at that time. And you wonder, like, what can we look at from that game that we're not getting every other single week? But at some point, it's like, was it just a day where the sun was shining out of their ass for whatever reason? It
had to be. I mean, they have an absolute horror run coming up soon too, between teams that are strong on paper and teams that are in form. They've got the Cowboys, whose attack is very strong at the moment. They've got them this week. They've got the Dolphins, who are the best attacking team of last year. Then they've got the Sharks, Magic Weekend, who are a lot better than what they've been showing. Then they've got the Storm after that. Then the Tigers, and then Parramatta in round 14. Like, they need to pull their finger out. Otherwise, their season is done.
Yeah. And it's like, in a month and a half from now, their season could be like over with 0 recovery options.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you would see Ciraldo sacked, and Phil Gould would, bring in the actual guy that he wants to coach the team, whoever the fuck that is, It's really shocking. And in this game against the Broncos were without a number of players in this one. They didn't worry the Broncos with their attack at all. And the Broncos were great. I thought the Broncos really dug deep in this one, and they're really showing the sort of depth and fight that we've typically sort of applied to a team like the Panthers in recent years when they've been premiers. I think the Broncos are really showing that level, especially with their depth. It's been fantastic what they've been able to do with so many players injured. And they get Reece Walsh back this week, which is good to see. So that was a good win. That was a good win by them.
Absolutely.
In front of a big crowd too. And the Anzac ceremony that they had before that game was actually the best one I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was bloody good. Speaking of Anzac Day, we opened with the Dragons. Roosters beat the Dragons 62-16.
Should have been more too.
Oh shit, yeah. The Roosters were just having a jog afterwards.
Yeah. They eased up and they still put 60 on them. The Dragons were abysmal. I don't even know what you can say about this. This is what happens when you put the wrong person in charge of the club and every single decision they make impacts the team over a certain number of years. And now you've got a Dragons team which needs a complete rebuild, a complete clear out. They should just be blood and youngsters for the rest of the year. Don't worry about results. Just see what you've got in your lower grades. Because there's no salvage. There's no salvaging this year. This year's over.
The one good thing to come out of this game is that there was no one called Flanagan involved in it.
Yeah.
So the Dragons can work from there. And I think young Cade Reed was the halfback, despite the fact his side got flogged. I think he showed a lot of promise. He's not scared to run the ball, even though he's pretty slightly built.
Mm-hmm.
Took on the line a number of times. He's got a good, very kicking game. We didn't get to see if he was able to control the team at all. But skill set wise, he's not lacking. He's definitely got a lot more skills than Kyle Flanagan has. So there's plenty to work with there. They need to get a proper halves coach there, and a proper attack coach, and a proper defense coach, and a proper head coach there around him, and a good squad of footballers around him, so that he can become as good as he should be. And that's a lot of people that they need to hire.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, they need to allow him to be a halfback, and because Atkinson basically did all of the halfback duties, and I was like waiting for the moment where they would let the halfback play halfback, and they didn't really do that ever. And you know, Dean Young isn't coaching for Dean Young shouldn't be their coach next year. If everything works out right, he should not be the coach next year.
Hopefully they find a head coach.
Yeah,
before the end of this year.
But this year doesn't need to be about him trying to make it not as bad as it could be. It's terrible. That ship has sailed. We need to find out what this young bloke can do in a halfback, playing a halfback's role, not playing second fiddle to a part-time 5'8" that's doing the halfback's role. So it's going to be interesting to see if they do actually do that, or if they just keep compounding the problems. And I think they'll probably just keep compounding the problems.
Yeah, it feels like normal.
Yeah.
Next up, Warriors beat the Dolphins 2018 in a pretty damn good game.
Yeah, this was a real good game. Both teams played really well. 30,000 people at that stadium in Wellington. They've not got great atmosphere, unfortunately, but at least they filled it out. And it was weird seeing that stadium filled out. You very rarely see it filled out.
Yeah.
Warriors played pretty damn well. Dolphins played pretty damn well. I've just been really impressed with how the Warriors are able to stick in there when it counts, and when the game is kind of on the line, and they keep getting these wins. When the game's on the line, they keep getting it done. It's a really good sign for them.
How much better do they look with Tane Tuapiki at fullback?
Yeah, it's like he adds a little bit of variation to everything.
Yeah.
I worry a little bit about his size, but he's doing all right. But he at least he's reliable. You're not worrying that he's going to get injured over and over again like some of the other options. But
yeah,
it's good to see the Warriors. Like, once again, it's one of those things where the Warriors kind of are what they are this year at this point. Like, this isn't form. This is who the Warriors actually are, I reckon.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is their baseline form.
Yeah.
I was also pretty happy with the way the Dolphins defended. They've always been a bit hit and miss with defense, and just relied more on just score more points than the opposition. Their defensive was very good in this game. I'd rather see them work more off that solid defensive performance they had in this game, and build their attack around that, instead of trying to just score points and hope that their other team doesn't score as many. Because I don't think that mindset is a valid one at any time.
No, it doesn't work. Especially when it counts. Like, finals games aren't won 42 points to 36.
That's right. Next game, wow. South 48-6 over Melbourne. Melbourne were fucking atrocious.
Yes.
And South were remarkably good.
Yeah.
But this Melbourne side they are non-existent in the middle.
Yeah.
That's what it is. There's nothing in the middle going on in attack or defense. All their best attacking options are on the edges, and you can't win games if you're just strong on the edges anymore. You just can't.
No, look, their centers and wingers make so many errors. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you saw every time they were making an error, Craig Bellamy was getting up and walking out of the box, and he must have done it a dozen times. It was crazy, and they don't build pressure. On top of that, their forward pack is lacking, and that's been kind. Hughes got injured in this game, which didn't help them. Munster is just having a bad year, and it's just, Harry Grant, with all of this stuff going on, Harry Grant is kind of cancelled out in all of it because they're not going forward, so he's not been able to do much out of dummy half. It's tough. I wonder. I mean, Bellamy kind of said that he was like one of the most embarrassing moments of his rugby league career in a press conference, and that he will be making changes. It's time for them to really. There's some guys that he's stuck with for a long time, and they've kind of rewarded him with solid play, but they're not rewarding him with solid play anymore, and it's time for those sorts of players to go.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see if he wants to really go through rebuild. I don't know that he would want to go through rebuild, but maybe then again, it might be the thing that he's like, once it's underway, it might be the thing that rejuvenates him as a coach, where he's like, okay, let's see if I can do it again.
Yeah, there was moments in this game and last week as well where he went between looking like bored, as if he was watching like maths or something on TV, or looking so irate. And I've always described it like, for me, there's a lot of things that can cause people to get angry, but the things that happen most that make you absolutely seize with fury is when you can't really find an outlet for that anger. Yeah. And it's weird little things like when you put money into a vending machine and your item gets stuck against the window and it doesn't drop down.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, you can't do anything.
Yeah. When you pull into a Macca's drive-through behind a giant SUV and you pull up and you see the person in the front asking everyone individually what they want. It's like, shouldn't you have worked that out before you fucking turned up here? Does everyone want Macca's? Yeah. I could go this. Not like, we're at Macca's now. Now, each tell me what exactly you want. We'll have a fucking conversation about it. Fuck everyone in that car.
Yes. Those are the moments, and that's how Craig Bellamy is right now. He's in that moment of seething fury.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of the media running this story, media always have this thing like, he's lost the locker room.
Yeah.
He started that in the post-match conference. Says maybe the guys don't have my back anymore. And immediately Harry Grant's says, no, mate, we're all behind you. You're the bloke who's here first. We have a lot of respect for you and stuff like that. And that's nonsense. Don't say shit like that. And he just shut it down straight away. Like, he jumped in straight away. He did not need to be prompted. And I was like, wow. I didn't expect Bellamy to go to that place.
Yeah, because he had one of his blow-ups in this game, apparently at halftime, and you only have a few of them here. And I just wonder if it's just a coach pulling out all stops to see if he can get something out of this team, because you come out of a good off season. They lost the grand final only just lost the grand final to the Broncos. Back-to-back grand final losses, and you come out of the off season and you've got nothing at all. And I just wonder if he's trying all of the tricks you can as a veteran coach to try and get a response from his team, and it's not working. And at some point, it's like, okay, time for changes.
Yeah. The backs for him have just been diabolical. Other than the fullback, Farlongo has been phenomenal. He's thrown himself into everything. And the try he scored in this game was the greatest highlight of the whole match. It was fucking phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it. That kid he's a highlight reel machine. There's going to be videos of him on YouTube in 10 years' time. They're all going to be like 45 minutes long. He's the next best thing to a Benji Marshall highlight reel at this stage. He's insane. But yeah, Latrell Mitchell was unstoppable. He was everywhere. Just menacing and powerful and dominant in everything he did. The other thing he struggled with was goal kicking.
Yeah, he's hit and miss with his kicking. Hey, he just absolutely drills a 40+ meter field goal like it's nothing.
And it was such a casual kick.
Just easy, just nothing at all, not even a problem. But then his goal kicking and his dropouts, the short dropouts can be everything from okay to abysmal.
Yeah.
And
5 from 9 today in that game. So he missed 8 points. Could have been 56-6.
Yeah, crazy. But the Souths are not easy for anyone to beat this year.
No, look, they were absolutely decimated by injuries last year, and so they're having a better run of it this year round. Thought Tallis Duncan was insane because he scored 2 tries on the right hand side and then backed up and scored his best try was on the left hand side, which is not his natural side. It's like, this kid's just insane.
Yeah, I think that was an interesting move. I wonder if it was purely a development thing, like they got the game underhand and just start changing a little bit, seeing what you can get out of different players. And yeah, that was interesting. Because there was a move before that where he got the ball and it didn't work out. And Latrell Mitchell went to him and they didn't have words, but it was like, okay, that didn't work out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, we'll try again next time. And then the next time along, it did work, and they were all excited because it worked. It'd be huge if he could develop into the sort of player where it doesn't matter where he plays. There are some players where they set up on one side of the field and that's their bread and butter, and that's all well and good. But if you can do that anywhere on the field, that's the next level. And I wonder if that's what Wayne Bennett's trying to do with him, because he's such a good player.
He really is.
I wish he was a Panther so much.
Now, the other surprising player out of this game was South fullback Matt Duffy. He had fucking spiders on him all game. That's how bad this Melbourne defence was.
Yeah, the only thing about him, though, is like he kept on going over to Latrell Mitchell's side of the field and he kept on holding the ball and running it himself. And it's like, dude, you've got to pass the fucking ball. Yeah. Pass the ball. But at the same time, if I'm him and I'm trying to get my career going, I would hold on to the ball too, especially in a smashing like that,
Absolutely.
They were all making so many meters. Just he was probably thinking, man, I'm going for it. I'm trying to rebuild a career. Yeah, let me run it. Just let me run it.
Yes, South were dominant though. 24 points in the first half and 24 in the second half. They didn't let up. They were just brilliant the whole way through, and Melbourne were abysmal.
Yeah.
I didn't see these next 2 games. Penrith beat the Knights 44-12.
Yeah, I know. Look, we're a couple of weeks away from you doing a stats deep dive on the Panthers and where they stack up in terms of starts to the season, but it was a Penrith performance. They just strangled the hell out of the Knights, gave them nothing, and did it pretty comfortably. Like, it was a lot like what we've seen most of the season out of the Panthers, and just kind of incredible to watch this happening.
My only question is, what the hell happened to Jenkins in this one?
Useless.
Didn't score a try. What the fuck?
Just what is he even there for?
Sacking.
Fucking terrible. But yeah, like, it was just one of them games. And as I said, I've said this for the Knights a couple of times this season. Just one of them games, man. Like, ball didn't bounce right for them. Like, they started the game, first couple of sets not bad, and then knock on, drop ball, and then all of a sudden the Panthers scoring, and it's just went really bad for them really quickly and didn't change very much at all.
I would say this Knight side though is performing well above the expectation.
Oh well, yeah. Even look at that scoreline, 44-12. Right, the Knights weren't fucking abysmal, which is what they were last year. They were fucking abysmal last year. They weren't fucking abysmal in this game. It was just one of them days. It's the same thing that they had against the West Tigers, where they weren't terrible against the West Tigers. It was just one of them days.
Yeah.
But
you think of how many players have got out and which ones they've got out.
Yeah.
They lost their big meter maker for this one. Greg Marju. Obviously, there's no fullback there in Kalen Ponga. Dylan Brown had just come back for this game.
And Dylan Brown played really well.
Yeah. It's just like, you can't take like a few vital players like that, like really important vital cogs to the way you play the game out of the side and expect them to win. And yet they were.
Mm-hmm.
They've been playing remarkable. So it was going to, I think eventually it was going to come to a bit of a sad end because there was just going to be too much pressure after a while. But I think they've been playing pretty bloody well, and they shouldn't get too bogged down with this result because this Panther side is psycho.
Yeah, it's funny because you could almost look at this season and say, well, you kind of have to write off every game that the Panthers have played against everyone, and ironically, even their win that the Bulldogs had against them, because that's kind of an anomaly as well.
Yeah.
Really weird. It's really weird to be a fan of a team that's doing this so far. I just hope they finish it off.
Exactly. All right, speaking of finishing off, the last game of the round was Manly beating Parramatta 33-18.
The Eels are way worse than the scoreline indicates. Way, way worse. Manly played pretty well. It was a very entertaining game, but this Parramatta Eels team absolutely sucks. And the weird thing about this game is I was watching this and I was thinking, who's the worst team that they could come up against? And I was thinking it's probably the Warriors. Big forward pack, hard, straight runner forward pack. It's going to put pressure on you the entire game. Because the thing about this Eels forward pack is there's a lot of arm grabbing. Their defense is terrible. They don't put their body on the line. And I really was. I was thinking, who's the worst team that you could play against with that sort of defense? Oh, it'd be the Warriors. And I was thinking, man, I wonder when they play the Warriors. It's this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, should we get into previewing this week's games?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And I'll open up the tipping app so I can do that.
Okay.
Because I will forget if I don't. Sad but true fact right there. I still haven't looked to see how I went last week.
I did all right last week. I think I only got two, maybe. I think I got 2 or 3 wrong, but it might have been 2 because I was like, oh, that was a pretty good week.
1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 right.
Okay, that's good. Better than 50%.
I think it might be the first time I've done better than 50%.
Oh, shit.
Because I said my ranking in the tipping comp is 94.
I think mine was 73.
I feel like I'm a long way down the list.
There's 200 and some people in it, hey?
Okay, well, I've got further to sink then. That's all that tells me.
Yeah.
All right. So there's no footy on Thursday night. I think the Women's State of Origin is on, isn't it?
I think you might be right, hey?
Who are you going to pick in the Women's State of Origin? I've got some stats here. Queensland have won both of the previous Women's Origin games played in Newcastle, and this will be the first Women's Origin game to not have Ali Brigginshaw playing. Kezzy Apps has been named, and she's now the only player to have appeared in all 19 Women's Origin games. And
there's one of the players that had a baby at the end of last year, and she's playing in it, which is fucking incredible. It's hard to say. Like they haven't been playing footy in NRLW, so it's like, how do you pick on form? I don't know. I'll just go New South Wales.
Absolutely, New South Wales.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly because fuck Queensland.
Yeah, that's fair. I've got no issue with that. All right, First game, Bulldogs versus the Cowboys. Cowboys have won 12 of their last 18 games against the Dogs, and the Bulldogs have won just 7 of their 32 games played on Friday since 2020.
This is a hateful bitch of a game. I think I'm going for the Cowboys, like with no confidence whatsoever.
Essentially, what we've got here is 2 teams that are dog shit in defense, but only one of them is good in attack. So I'm going Cowboys as well.
Okay.
Next one, Mike. This Dolphins versus Storm. Dolphins have scored at least 20 points in 20 of their last 27 games.
Wow.
Melbourne have lost their last 3 games at Suncorp, conceding 30.6 points per game in those 3 games. Their last win there was in 2024.
Wow. Holy shit. You have to go with the Dolphins, which is probably the first time I've ever picked the Dolphins against the Storm. I think the Dolphins might flog them.
Yeah. I'm going to get the Dolphins by 50.
Yeah, I can't. I think, is that one of the games you can put the margin? I think I put them in for might have been 16 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah.
Well, see,
Are
that's
they
because
really?
you're an intelligent tipper. See, I'm not. I'm an idiot.
I'm just a conservative idiot.
All right, next game: Titans versus the Raiders. 7 of the last 9 games between these two sides at Seabus Super Stadium has seen at least 50 match points scored, but only 3 of those 9 games had a winning margin of more than 16 points.
So we're in for a high scorer then.
Yes.
Where it's like 42 points to
Maybe
36.
some stupid shit like that.
PVL ball.
And the Raiders have won 15 of their last 19 games against the Titans since 2014.
You got to go for the Raiders, but I tell you what, if the Titans win this one, it's going to be interesting.
I'm picking the Titans.
Okay, I went the Raiders.
Yep. It says on here 80% of the people have picked the Raiders. The Titans are the favourites by 3 cents.
Really?
Yeah. $1.90 for Titans, $1.93 for Raiders. And Titans are 13th on the ladder, and Raiders are 14th. But
wow, that's really interesting. That the money's like going to the Titans.
The Titans have not been atrocious, even though they've lost a bunch of games already. They've got 2 wins and 5 losses. Their points difference is only minus 30.
Yeah.
Canberra's is minus 82.
Yeah, the Josh Hannay, they're not a good team. They're not a good team. But Josh Hannay has them trying hard.
See, that's because that's what a good defensive coach does.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of stunned that the money's going for the Titans. That's really interesting. Wow.
Next up, Warriors versus Parramatta. Now, Parramatta have won 17 of their last 50 NRL games. And the Warriors have won 8 of their last 11 games against the Eels.
I want to see the Warriors absolutely put the sword to the Eels in this one. They've had some really good, solid wins this year. They're second on the ladder. They are a very good team. They've got a team that is wounded. That, as I said, I feel like they're the worst possible scenario for the Eels to be playing. And I want to see them put like 60 on the Eels. I want them to put it through them.
Yep. I 100% echo those sentiments. Next up, Roosters versus Broncos. Roosters have won 9 of their last 13 games against the Broncos, and the Roosters are scoring an average of 41 points per game over their last 4 games.
The Roosters tend to get kissed on the dick depending on who their opponent is a lot. I think the Broncos will smack them.
It's interesting because 64% of tippers have tipped the Roosters, and the market is backing the Roosters $1.56 to $2.44. I'm going for the Broncos as well.
Wow, $2.44 for the Broncos.
Put your house on it.
I might take some of that.
Next up is the Knights versus Souths. The Knights have lost 12 of their last 14 games at McDonald Jones Stadium. Meanwhile, Souths have won 6 of their last 7 games there since 2012. Souths have won 12 of their last 17 games against the Knights.
I think that these two teams are actually pretty close to one another, but I'm going to tip Souths.
Yeah,
I just think their form is. I think that they've been winning, and I think that their form's just going to get them over on this one.
I think Latrell Mitchell's in stunning form, and he'll be high on confidence. And they're playing good footy, and just after breaking a 20-year hoodoo in Melbourne, they're going to be full of confidence. They're going to be right up for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, Sharks versus the Tigers. The Sharks have won 13 of their last 18 games against the Tigers. The Sharks, though, have conceded 188 points in their last 6 games, which is 31 points a game.
Tigers have a few injuries, but I'm going for the Tigers. I just think that they'll win this game. I think they're the better team. This
is an interesting one because the majority of tippers are going with the Tigers, but the Sharks are the favourites. $1.52 to $2.54.
$2.54?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy. And the last game, Penrith versus Manly. Penrith have won 17 of the last 22 games against Manly since 2012. And since Kieran Foran became coach, Manly have won all 4 games with an average score of 37.7 to 15.
Manly every so often come up with pretty good performance against Penrith, but how can you not tip the Panthers?
Yeah, I'm going Penrith on this one.
Like this, yeah, it's at Parramatta Stadium, which is the Panthers' home at the moment, and
they're playing at the Tigers' home ground.
But it's our home ground. How dare you? How dare you try and steal it off of the Penrith Panthers?
But you can talk all you want. We all know it's the Tigers' home ground.
Fuck you. Hey, when I guess we'll be playing off for the to see who the major tenant is of Parramatta Stadium, the West Tigers or the Penrith Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, they're the only two teams that play there and actually have success there. So that's right that they should be the two playing for the ownership of the ground.
Right. And you know what we should do? Whoever wins, they should burn the stadium down as celebration, like they did with Cumberland Oval.
I think that is a fantastic idea.
And then just fuck it, just walk away. Don't worry about it.
Make sure you've taken out a lot of insurance on it first.
At least $300 million worth of insurance, because you can build a really nice stadium for $300 million.
Just not a good roof.
Yeah, you just don't have a roof or sides
don't worry about
or corners.
It's over, right? We only need sticks.
But I tell you what, where you flush the toilets, the fucking plumbing works great. Spend $55 million on pipes to pump shit through. Well done, Chris Mims.
We could be going down a bad rabbit hole
there. Yeah. Don't get me started on that shit.
Right. Well, what else has been going on in the World Rugby League? Shall we have a look at the English results? Just quickly have a peek at them.
Just for shits and giggles, yeah. Were there some close games in the weekend over in England?
I got no idea.
No, I don't.
We can go and have a gander.
Okay.
Let's have a look here.
Can we get the Bolton Wanderers goalkeeper in to one of these teams?
How much is he worth?
$6,000 Australian dollars a week.
6,000.
Yeah.
That's a whack. That's almost what you're on.
That's as much as. Remember when people were saying Mary Fowler earned more than Nathan Cleary, and no one bothered to actually maybe look it up. Fucking people are dumb.
We don't need facts.
You've got no idea. She's on so much more than Nathan Cleary over there. It's like, oh, she's not. It's not nearly as much. There you go.
All right, last week York beat Toulouse 38-14. Nice. Lee beat Huddersfield 30-16. Yep. Leeds Rhinos, they beat Catalans 46-4. Mm-hmm. Warrington beat Wigan 23-6.
Mm-hmm.
Hull FC beat Castleford 50-10.
It's all right. Nathan Cleary will be there next year. He'll sort it.
Or is he going to PNG? Remember, there was that talk.
Yeah, there was talk that he was going to PNG as well, yeah.
He's not leaving Penrith.
It feels like he's not leaving, eh?
You take it from me. Every time they've got these stories come out, and they come out with, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and I shit can't go, it's not going to happen.
Mm.
Who's right?
You're right, Andrew.
You're welcome, because I'm an expert. Not my words.
Yes.
Not my words.
That's Grok says it.
Well, the International Rugby League said it too.
Yes.
So, they govern rugby league for the entire world.
Exactly.
There's no higher authority. Got something to say there, young fella?
Just move on.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I'm disappointed too. I had a little test for you before.
All right.
To make a one-word tweet because I thought it'd go off and it has had nothing.
Hasn't it?
It's had nothing.
I think the problem is my followers are maybe conditioned to me. It's like there's a little bit of Stockholm syndrome with my followers,
Oh, that's fair.
Well, it's what I've tried to cultivate.
I mean, any good cult leader would do that.
Exactly. The next step is?
Well, I mean, who do you take out? I suppose the person in the tweet.
No, what are you talking about? No,
I'm trying to figure out the point of the tweet.
Every single cult ends the same way. With the leader is like, look, got to have sex with all the women, That's how it always ends.
Well, that's not how it ends. That's like the second last step.
Oh yeah, well yeah, the second last step, and then the last step is like yeah.
It's the nuclear option is the second last step.
What the fuck? We're digging holes for ourselves anyway.
Well, I mean that's your work. I didn't talk about Colts. That's all you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it? There's not much else we can cover. There's no F1 anymore.
No, F1 stopped.
Yeah.
I saw somebody tweet like F1 hasn't been on for like a month and a half or something, and is anyone really missing it? And I was like, yeah, that's kind of weird. Like it's nice to watch a race, but I'm not like, oh my god, I missed the F1. Ugh.
I think because it happened so early in the season, we didn't quite get ingrained into the season and all the shit that was going on. So and the races hadn't been great.
Yeah.
So you're just like, yeah, I'm not missing anything at the moment.
I saw Nigel Mansell just the other day said that the racing's fake.
It's fake.
Yeah, he said I'll probably get in trouble. He's paraphrasing him. He said I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but the racing's been a little bit fake this year, which is fair enough.
Wow.
I keep on seeing people calling it Mario Kart this year, which is kind of funny.
Oh, it's interesting to see. I think they've got a race at Miami this weekend. They do.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah.
Wow, we've waited all this time to see that race.
I know. It's like, ooh, won't it be great? We'll see them racing around the car park of the fucking Miami Dolphins. I can't wait.
Woohoo! I mean, they'd be better than the one they did. Was it the Grand MGM car park or whatever it was? Where was that one? Was it Caesar's Palace?
So yeah, the Caesar's Palace one. That was which was just literally the car park. Yeah, it wasn't around anything. It was literally in just the car park,
and it was abysmal.
Yeah.
There's an article on the Formula One website, which is inside the extreme approach of Newey's Aston Martin design. It's going, I don't think we want to see that, given how shit that car is.
Yeah. So what's he going to say? It's like it's super aerodynamic. So aerodynamic that we decided we don't need a fucking engine this week.
Yeah,
this year.
His great idea was to have completely all the ball bearings and all of the wheels. Every single one is a completely different size. That thing is bouncing around everywhere.
Look, it's good as long as you don't want to feel your fucking hands by the end of the race. You know,
this car is the most perfect car to park.
Yeah.
What else have they got? It's at its best when it's not moving.
This car vibrates so hard that it's got its own fucking section on Pornhub.
Yeah, we're going to have to do age verification to watch the Formula One next week.
I know, right?
Oh, boy.
Lance Stroll keeps getting out the car and saying, I can't feel my hands, but I nutted 3 times. That's so fucked up. Oh, shit.
I can't get out of the seat. I seem to be stuck. Leave him. Just stay there, Lance.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Oh, well, I mean, on that note, we should probably, that's the note you leave it on.
As they say in the classics, we better wrap it up.
We probably should. Good advice there for Lance as well while we're at it.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Make sure you check us out on all the socials. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Like and subscribe to all the videos. Play them all the time. That'd be fantastic. And we'll catch up with you next time.